All right, welcome back. Slowly coasting home. We're looking at the rescue mission and intelligence gathering, Oyo abduction in focus. And before our guest joins us, just for me, the success and the wins, we can and should record wins and gains, because this has been an ongoing conversation for the last 50 days. There's been lots of fear and worries amongst them. Different communities in Nigeria over the Oyo abductions, and a lot of things will get better. Of course, with the federal government promising the Oyo State government, that has come to fruition right now, and a holistic efforts by all the military, Amotekun, the Oyo State government, the federal collaborative, and for me, we have to recognize that. And for me, like I said earlier, a template on how best we can replicate this across board. We have in Borno, people are still being kidnapped in captivity and other states. But for me, first is how intelligence plays a huge role in getting these women and children. I think that intelligence gathering in our community right now is a big conversation. What was the means that they used to gather intelligence to be able to track these kidnappers and bandits? It would be nice to ask the guests that. And in terms of trying to use their families as bait, that was something that we didn't have that information. I know, because usually the military will not reveal information for personal and public of the strategy. But for us to get a holistic understanding in case of engagement for the next events that may happen, that would be a good place to start.
It also speaks to the fact that these gentlemen out there, these terrorists out there, they also have some level of human feeling. So if you think that if you arrest their family members, that would slow down their activities. It speaks to the fact that there is some level of humanity in them as well. But then, sadly, is the fact that the man that kills by the gun sees the gun and keeps asking for don't kill me after he has killed with the gun. But then back to our conversation, it's about our intelligence gathering. On this show, with a series of experts over the years, we've often highlighted the fact that one of the major challenges we have in the fight against insecurity is intelligence gathering. Now, how we gather this intelligence remains to be seen. It could come in some traditional ways, it could come in some more intelligent ways, but then the function is about gathering intelligence for rescue mission. So it's a big conversation. We talk about the Amotekun, you talk about the Civil Defense Corps, we have the Air Force, we have the Army, we have the Navy, we have the vigilantes, we have the hunters, we have the communities. These are supposedly ways that government intelligence can be gathered. These are means by which intelligence can be gathered. And then technology in itself is also a way. How much of technology have we been able to deploy in our fight against insecurity and gathering of intelligence in Nigeria? It's a huge, it's a gamut of questions we're asking this morning in our fight against insecurity. Let's take a listen to this report. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation. Do stay with us.
On May 15, 2026, Ogbomoso City in Ibadan got its dose of series of kidnapping ravaging the country. It was one kidnap too many, as over 40 pupils and their teachers were weeks away deep into the forest. To drive home their demands, the mathematics teacher, Michael Oyedokun, was brutally killed, and since his killing, others have been living in fear, and the fear spread to other concerned Nigerians. Rumor emerged about the kidnappers' demands. Counter-information left many in disbelief. Periodically, the federal government and security agencies assured Nigerians of their safe return. But going by the Chibok girls' abduction and Leah Sharibu's incident, many took these assurances with a pinch of salt. However, on Friday, July 10, 2026, the narration changed. News filtered that all of the victims have been rescued unhurt. Typically of the situation in Nigeria, many share their views that ransom were paid, but the special advisor to President Tinubu on media and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, allayed the fear. According to him, no payment was made. He further assured that the terrorist commanders earlier arrested are still in custody. He stated further that 8 of the terrorists were arrested while others were killed during the operations. No matter the argument, the good news is that, like the Adelabu sister and her children, the victims are back home and receiving medical care. While celebrating this good news, it is important to commend all those who have made it possible, and at the same time challenging them to do more. After all, the reward of hard work is small work. Furthermore, Over 50 days in captivity can be traumatizing. Therefore, all hands must be on deck to rehabilitate the victims and their loved ones psychologically and financially. The student must be helped to go back to school. This is also a reminder that many more are still in the dens of kidnappers. Their freedom should also be priority. Above all, the community and indeed Nigerians as a whole must be on high alert, be vigilant to assist the security operatives by saying something when they see something. Indeed, security is the responsibility of all.
All right, welcome back. That was a report put together by our correspondent, Funke Adesoji, on the rescue of the Ogbomoso Oyo girls. Let's invite our guest, Rekpene Basi, who is a securities specialist and also the president, African Council on Narcotics. He joins us virtually this morning. Let's get his thoughts on the matter. So good to have you on the show, Mr. Basi. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me on the program this morning. And we want to thank God that the rescue was successful. It must have been a very traumatic experience for the country before the rescue occurred. Traumatic for a whole 56 days, of horrendous experience from the 15th of May to the 10th of July for the pupils. Must have been horrendous and traumatic for their parents, for their siblings. Must have been so traumatic also for the people of Orire in Oyo State and the entire country. And but like I said, we cannot thank God enough that the rescue was successful. Though two innocent teachers were killed, and one lieutenant, Isaac, lost their lives as part of the saga. We still thank God that the rescue operation was successful eventually. Now there have been a number of controversies surrounding the rescue operation. No matter and irrespective of such controversies, we still want to thank God that at least the 44 remaining victims came back alive and unhurt. And then, we must also commend the various security agencies which participated in the joint operation, including the Nigerian Army, led by General Nebife, the GOC in Ibadan, and the Nigerian Police, the Department of State Services, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, National Intelligence Agency, and the Air Force, and other official security agencies that took part in this rescue operation. We say to God be the glory. At least for a moment, we would have had a sigh of, that these 44 pupils and the teachers were rescued on the 10th of July.
Thank you for that opener, fantastic opener, I must say. Yes, so let's align this with the conversation around them intelligence gathering. It's over 50 days to rescue this set of Nigerians. What does this speak to for you? Did we do well in our intelligence gathering? I mean, a lot could have happened within the space of time. A whole lot could have gone wrong. In about 50 days that these children and their teachers were in captivity. 50 days is a long time, over a month, close to 2 months. Did we do well in terms of intelligence gathering, or what could we have done differently?
Well, first I must, emphasize that it was a very risky operation. When you take out so many children at those tender ages into the green belts, the forest, and keep them for such a long time, anything could have happened to them. How were they fed? How were they catered for medically? And all of that. So I couldn't agree more that 56 days were horrendous, must have been a horrendous experience for them. And it took too long, but like I said, a mission of that kind needed to be carefully planned, because it requires a lot of intelligence gathering, You have to go about this mission integrating human intelligence, signal intelligence, technical surveillance, geospatial analysis, electronic interception, area reconnaissance, behavioral profiling, and then there has to be interagency fusion. If care was not taken in the execution of the operation, maybe the children may have, been killed. So it required, careful planning and execution. And you will recall the reflection or based on some of the reports we read that one Lieutenant Isaac died in the course
for
of
a second. Let me stop you for a second. You're running out of frame, out of your frame. If you do us this honors, this favor, could you just move back a little bit, tilt back a little bit. So fantastic. That's a bit too much though, but we can work with that. So yes, fantastic. Please stay like that all through the interview. We'd appreciate that. You can continue with your line of thought. Yes.
Okay, so like I was saying, so much was involved in the planning and execution of the operation. So he needed to take the time that it took. All is well that ends well. Well that the kids came out, 44 of them at least, unhurt, and the remaining teachers. So I said earlier that, it takes a lot of human intelligence gathering. It takes a lot of technical surveillance and geospatial aerial analysis, electronic, interceptions, to go about this. So we heard about a story where whilst the kidnappers held the hostages or had the victims with them, the various intelligence agencies in the course of work, or some of them had to arrest the family members and also got the perpetrators to know that their family members were also at risk if anything happened to those children. For me, that also is a reflection of the new counter-kidnapping doctrine. What's important, most importantly, in such an operation is to get the victims all back out of captivity alive. And thankfully, these ones all came alive. Irrespective of how long it took. So we appreciate the fact that it also signifies a new counter-kidnapping doctrine in our national security.
We need to wrap up this segment, but in 60 seconds, what lessons can we learn from this particular operation that can help us replicate across board in the major war fight against insurgencies? We'd love to take more questions because of time. We need to wrap up. So what major lessons, 60 seconds, can we learn from this particular incident? And then just taking it into the bigger conversation of the fight against insurgency in 60 seconds as we wrap up this segment.
Well, first and foremost, it's unfortunate that we continue to have this experience, but we also must address the undercurrents, the sociological undercurrents that are responsible for this: unemployment, poverty, porous borders, the proliferation of small and light weapons, ungoverned spaces. All of these give vent to these, unfortunate kidnappings that have been going on in this country, and they have gone on for too long. I think the earlier that government is able to, redefine our counter kidnapping strategies effectively to deal with this, the better. In fact, like we have all agreed, 56 days is too long. So whatever else needs to be done to sociologically address this problem and to also deal with it from the security perspective, the better, to effectively bring this spate of kidnappings across, especially in schools, to an end.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on News Hub this morning. Our guest, Rekpene Basi, Security Specialist and President, African Council on Narcotics. We'll be looking at the rescue mission and intelligence gathering Oya abduction in focus. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. God bless you.